welcome back. For those of you that are just joining us, my name is McLaughlin and I'm here from CCS. Earlier we talked about some of the basic functions and features of the software, the notebook software in particular, and how to set up and orient everything and make sure everything's properly working. We're going to now move into more of the features that you see up above, and I'm just going to add a new page, which we learned in a little bit. And when I add a new page, remember that page sorter, that top tab, is allowing you to keep all your pages here on your presentation in your file. So I can keep adding pages as I need to. And earlier I had mentioned that on the left side you would see this page sorter option, but I also said you might have seen it on the right side. And I want to address that now. On this column you have a double arrow. So this allows you, when I select it, to move this panel, this presentation panel, onto this side of the board. So if it's more conducive for you in the classroom to have it be on this side, then that double arrow, which is in the panel, easily moves it from side to side. I love to use that feature, very simple, but I love to use it when myself and a student are up here, so we don't have to walk back and forth within the content, or two students are working side by side. They can just swipe it from one side of the board to the other. Now, those of you that are vertically challenged and you have to wear high heels all day or have a step stool, whatever it may be, don't worry, we have a function for you as well. That double arrow in the top right corner now brings the toolbar down to your level or the student's level, whatever it may be. And so now it gives that flexibility one step further so that more participants can come up and actually utilize the smartboard system. Now, dragging that up top, so the double arrow will then put it back to the top. When I was in the classroom, it was really helpful for a visual for the students that when I had the toolbar up top, they knew it was teacher hands, that only me was allowed to approach the board and use it at this moment. When I had lowered that toolbar to their level, they knew that now this activity or this session, this time frame, they were allowed to come up and start using this actual system. So it was just a visual boundary that really helped. So that might be something you want to incorporate within your classroom. But the double arrow is a nice, easy, simple tool that allows you to go from the top to the bottom. Now, I'm going to start talking about some of the tools up top, work on the left side and work my way over, and then we'll talk about some of the side tabs over here, and then answer any other questions you may have. Now, the arrows in the top left corner allow you to go forward and backward within your presentation, and because I had several white pages, that's why you weren't able to see immediately what I was doing, but I can go forward and backward. And now, you also have your undo, which is your best friend, remember? So if you have something on the page and you accidentally erased it, or you deleted it, or a student did, and you need that to bring back, that undo button will take care of that for you. Now, adding a new page and deleting a page are up here in the top left corner, and they're also located in the bottom left corner, or remember bottom right corner, depending on which side you have your actual teacher station, your toolbar. Now, when I draw your attention up to the toolbar to continue forward, your toolbar currently may look a little different because there are additional tools up here that you may not be used to seeing. That means that you can customize your toolbar. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, and I'll show you a couple of examples, but just be aware that that's why yours looks a little different right now than mine. You can add, delete, simplify, or really put every tool in that toolbar and make it as complex as you would like, okay? So now, the next tool I want to talk about, as you're following along, is the monitor. So it looks like a little TV or a little computer monitor. When you select that, there's two options I want to go through with you. The first one is full screen. When full screen is selected, it gives you the maximum amount of space that you can use on the smartboard. You'll notice that your toolbars and your teacher side tab are no longer present, but they're not gone forever. This toolbar allows you to still stay in control, allowing you to advance forward and backwards within your presentation. And I wish there was a different icon, maybe a pencil or something, but this dotted line I really like to point out because a lot of people overlook it and don't realize all the potential that is right here at their fingertips. This dotted line represents where all the tools that you're used to seeing up top, right? This is now where they all lie. So now you have full reign and full capability of this software in this format. So all the tools are still here for your use, and you can still now keep the full screen mode, okay? So you don't have to toggle back and forth. And then lastly, the monitor, or the X in the top right corner, will allow you to get back to where you were started. So right here in the actual mode that you're used to using and seeing. Within that monitor, so select that monitor again, and in that drop-down menu, the third option is dual page display. You're going to love this. Dual page display allows 2 pages of content, I know, in your presentation to be seen at the same time. So, because this board in particular, you can have 2 people up here collaborating at the same time. You can have those 2 students in their separate designated workspaces, collaborating, brainstorming, working out problems, a little friendly competition, who can finish it first, whatever the scenario may be. But this is just really beneficial because you can compare and contrast. A lot of times, if there was step-by-step instructions on one side that I would place, and then the finished product or the project, whatever it may be, the assignment that the students need to see the end result, that's what my expectation for this assignment was. However you would like to utilize this, this is a great setup. So once again, it's in the monitor, and it's a third option down, dual page display. Now, because we're in dual page display, when you go back to the monitor, that third option now becomes single page display. Because now it's saying, okay, you're in dual page display, to go back to single page, that's the option you want to select. Okay? So now, I'm going to take it one step further and talk to you about how you can customize your toolbar. Remember I just said that? So we want to go into the top right corner of your actual toolbar. So it's in the top right corner. And when I select that option, it launches automatically additional tools that you can use. So I already have it in my toolbar, but I want to point out to you where you can find it and how you add it to your toolbar. When I scroll down, it's the far option pin page. So pin page is the function, the feature that I want to show you now. I have other options up here, and because I already have it up in the toolbar, I'm going to show you how I can take it away. So it's gone now, but all I did was with my finger, which is my mouse, remember, selected it and held onto it and drug it down into this toolbar area. It removed it from my toolbar, but it still is here if I ever want to return it, which is what I'm going to show you now. So when I select that pin the page, I'm going to drag and then release my finger or my mouse once it's in the correct spot of where I'd like it to reside in my toolbar. You can add tools all day long. So that's what I was saying. You can get very, very creative in how many tools you want to see and have a quick access to. Or if you're just comfortable with 5 tools right now, that's what your focus is. That's okay. That's perfect. Because actually you can simplify it or make it as complex as you want anytime. So it's not going to change your neighbors. It's unique to this computer. Okay? So don't fear in that you're not going to change your neighbors. Neighbors not going to change yours. And so you can customize it and keep adding or subtracting as often as you want. So because I added the tool that I need to my toolbar, I can say now I'm done. So in the bottom right corner, hit done, and now it's up here in that option. Now, it's faded out in this view because you cannot pin when you're in single page display mode. Okay, so when you're in single page display, that's the page that's on. It allows you to move forward. Once you go into your actual monitor and dual page display, you'll notice now that pin of the page becomes alive. It allows you to now access it. When I am on two different pages in this display, you'll notice there's a blue border around the one image, and if I tap, notice then it comes over here. That is activating and recognizing which page you want to pin. So I'm going to pin that blank page, and so once it's selected, I pin it, and it lets you know that it's pinned because you see two pins in the top corners of that page. And now, as I select to go forward or backward, you can see I can keep changing pages all day long, but I want this page to stay. So say it was bell work, instructions, whatever it may be, I can now have this page stay. So these particular notes are always in view for my students. So that's always going to stay, but over here will start changing. So that's very useful. Yes, I see everyone nodding their heads. Yes, this is amazing software. This is a great, simple tool that makes a big difference. So now, to unpin a page, you're on the page that's pinned. Select that pin the page tool in that toolbar area, and now it releases that pin. So now you're no longer stuck on that single page. Now, the page that's selected will then be the page that goes to the single page when you select that option. So when I go from dual page to now single page, this notes page appears as the large single page because that was the last page selected. Okay, I'm going to continue moving forward. We talked about the red X, and it's faded out right now because nothing in our workspace is selected. Once I select something, now look up here, your eyes now see that illuminated red X. Now that red X can be utilized to delete that selected object in our workspace. So simple things like that you'll be able to pick up as you start using the software. Our next icon that I want to go through, one of my favorites, it's the screen shade. This screen shade allows for you as the teacher, you as the presenter, to slowly reveal content at your pace. Yes, so this is really nice because say I have a question up above and my answer is now already prepped below it, but I don't want to show the answer yet. This allows me to reveal that answer or those later notes when I deem it's appropriate. You can also reveal from either side and from bottom to top. A common question that I get asked is, can I write on top of the screen shade? And the answer is no. The screen shade is simply there to allow you to cover up content that is on your workspace. So it's that, back when you had the overhead transparencies, you were slowly revealing content that you were writing on that overhead. Same concept, but now in the digital form. X out in the top corner when you want that fully removed from the screen. Now, screen shade is great. I loved it also with, say you had a full page of notes, all these bullet points, and you want everyone to stay on the same page. Okay, write these 2 bullet points down, put your pencils down, let's talk, let's debate about it. So that's another great way just to slowly reveal content so that everyone's on the same page and that you can all discuss something together. I'm going to add a new page. Remember, it's just adding to my page sorter which is then, this is one file. All these pages are in one file. Similar to PowerPoint, like I discussed earlier. You have a table maker. I can now choose how many rows and columns I want to create, and then here, that table is created right here for you. I can pick up a pen, make sure you choose a color, and I can write content, and this allows me to drag and drop that content into this cell. This cell then allows me to accept it, so it accepts that content, and it gives me a drop-down menu in that top right corner of the cell. That option I want to show you is Add Cell Shade. So now I have a dog ear effect, so I can do a hide and reveal. So when I'm a mouse again, I have the option to reveal what was underneath that cell shade. So it's great for hide and reveal effects, memory games. When I was with the older kids, they always complained that I gave them boring essay topics. So I was like, okay, I put in all the essay topics that needed to be covered, or project assignments, whatever it may have been, and one at a time, they would come up and reveal what cell they wanted to choose as their assignment. And if they were like, oh, Abe Lincoln, I don't want to write about Abe Lincoln, I'm like, hey, it's not my decision, you chose it. And so at that moment, yes, at that moment, it's out of my hands. They're the ones coming up to the board. And even if it's just simple tap to reveal, get them up here. This is something that is beneficial not only for you as the teacher, but the students to be engaged, to be involved, and to have that hands-on participation as well. So now you have that hide and reveal effect. Now, if I wanted to format that content, so it's in my handwriting right now, but I want to take it out of my handwriting and put it into nice, neat type text, you want to take it out of the cell first, or do it before you add it to the cell. Select what you wrote, and in that drop-down menu, recognize whatever you had written, hide, and so now I can drag and drop that into my cell. And notice how it went all the way to the left. Well, whenever you're working with something in your cell, you can double tap and obviously make sure you're a mouse. And when you double tap something, you have other options in your toolbar up above. More specifically, font, color, centering options. So now if I want this content centered, I have the option over here to select that center option. And now it centers my content. So just make sure you're selected in that cell and you have that blinking cursor. And now I can apply any of those settings I wish. Okay. Now, in this chart as well, Table Maker, you can move the lines, so the rows and columns. You can modify them at any point. And it's really nice because when you select a cell, that drop-down menu always appears. So you can change the color of the cells and the lines and split cells. And it's more in-depth, but like I said, as you get more comfortable, explore those options, because there's a lot that's hidden in each drop-down menu that might surprise you and be an easy shortcut for what you're trying to accomplish. I'm going to add a new page, and we have measurement tools. We have a ruler here that allows for growing length and shrinking length. Now, if you're not the best at drawing a straight line, that's okay. Start at 0, and you want to make sure you really start at 0, because I could not draw a straight line, and it will draw a straight line for me. So that's really nice. When I become a mouse again by putting my pen down, I can move this ruler. I can also rotate the ruler. So when you grab it in the middle, it moves it. And then when I grab it on the edge, it then allows for rotation. So if you're trying to add angles, whatever you're trying to do. You also have protractors and compasses. So you can draw your circles. It talks about the different angles and radius. This now is an image that you can move, modify. Remember that green handle up top is for rotation, which in a circle you really can't see that rotation occur. But then you also have the white handle with the resizing capabilities. And then remember, every drop-down menu has a list of other options for you to explore. Okay, I'm going to add a new page, and I'm going to talk about the pen types, because when we select a pen, remember we can do so in our pen tray or up above. We have our pens here, but wherever you see a drop-down menu, that means there's more to explore. So that little arrow, more to explore, more to look at. You have transparency options, you have line thickness and line style to choose from, as well as additional colors. So you don't have to just use the 4 basic colors up here like I showed you earlier. You have additional features and colors located up here in your software. And then under the pens, then you have a whole list of other pen options that I'm going to go over with you step by step. So the first one is just the normal pen that we've been working in. Our second one is our calligraphy pen, so we can write fancy calligraphic ink, right? Yeah, nice, good. And as you practice, you have crayons. So if I needed to color something in, please use the digital crayons we provide. Don't allow the students to come up with actual crayons to the board. So we have all sorts of colors and thicknesses, so you can accommodate whatever coloring needs have to happen. Highlighters, colors, thicknesses already ready to go. So you have your yellow, your blue, and like I said, you have the thinner ones as well. Okay, this next pen, this is one of our newest features in our software, and it actually can do 5 different things. So this is really nice because this one pen alone can accomplish so much. So for example, I'm on text pen, right? I went to my pens and I selected text pen. If I simply write in the text pen, wait a few seconds, it will automatically take my handwriting and put it into nice, neat, formatted text. So like before I showed you, you had to write it normally, be a mouse again, select it, select the drop-down menu, and then that first option to recognize it. Not anymore. This pen will then automatically do that for you. Next, if I draw a vertical line in between something that has been formatted with the text pen, it gives me a space. So that's really helpful. So I don't have to bring up the keyboard or anything like that. If I draw a horizontal line, it will delete whatever I just went through. Fourth, if I draw a little indentation caret, it allows me to insert something, and I can select what I wanted to insert. And then lastly, if I surround, if I circle something completely, it will allow me to completely replace what I just circled with then what I just wrote. So those are the 5 things the text pen can do. 1, simply writing in that text pen allows you to then have that automatic transition into nice, neat, type formatted text. Second, if I draw a vertical line, it gives me a space. Third, if I draw a horizontal line, it allows me to then delete whatever I just went through. Fourth, if I draw a little insert, a little caret, and write something, it allows me to insert what I just wrote in between where I had that caret. And then lastly, if I circle something and write something, it allows me to replace what I just circled with what I had just written. And that's the text pen. Also within that drop-down menu of the pen options, you have a creative pen. This creative pen allows you to explore all of these fun remember, you have that drop-down menu because there's more to explore. So I have stars, I have smiley faces. These could be bullet points, and then you could type next to them. You have daisies, and then probably the only snow Florida's going to see, the Winter Wonderland. But wait, there's more. You also have now the capability of creating your own custom pen. What that means is, I'm on the Creative Pen, right? And I'm going to now access my Properties tab. My Properties tab is the 4th tab down. So as you're looking on your computers, the 4th tab down, it's the Rubik's Cube and the A. And when I select that, it opens a menu, and I want to select Use a Custom Stamp Image. When I select that, I have 2 options to choose from. One, I can either browse on my computer for an image I want to use, or I can select the object in my workspace that I want to now apply as a pen. So I'm going to select an object, and I'm just going to use my A that I had on my workspace. And now I see a thumbnail view of that selected object here in this image. I can change my pen thickness. And now if I just want to test it out to see if it's something I want to keep, then I can just start testing it out, which I will in a moment. Or if you know for sure that this is a pen you want to keep, you want to save, then you want to make sure you save the tool properties in the bottom corner so that you actually apply this new selected object as a new Creative Pen. Now, before I actually test it out, I want to point out that whatever pen that you were selected on in the Creative Pen initially, before you went to start creating a new one, that's what's going to be replaced with your new pen. So you have 8 defaults, but if you create a new pen, it's going to eliminate one of those 8 based upon whichever you were selected on before you started creating the new pen. So now here is my A pen. So you could do Student of the Week pen, pen for subjects, holidays, occasions, just to have fun, school logo, all different things that you can apply, and hence the name, Creative Pen. So sky's the limit on how creative you need to be. Okay, so one of the next pens includes the paintbrush. I'm going to show you the paintbrush. It's that airiness, that transparent, just kind of the stroke of a paintbrush. So that's an option that you can use. You also then have the Magic Pen. The Magic Pen has 3 stars because it can do 3 different things. First, if you draw a circle within the Magic Pen, you get a spotlight. Isn't that cool? And I can drag and move the spotlight by grabbing it in the darkened area so that you can illuminate whatever area of the workspace you want your students' attention to go to. I can, with my finger or my mouse, move up and down in the spotlight to resize it and X out in the corner to take it away. Next, I'm still on the Magic Pen. If I draw a square or a rectangle, it will zoom something for me. So those of you in the back of the classroom, if this is hard to read, that's okay. I can get this quite large. So there's no excuses anymore for not being able to read or participate. If you're sitting in the back of the classroom, you have that big magnifying glass throughout the entire page. So that's very helpful. I'm going to add a new page, and I'm still on the Magic Pen. And if I just simply write any notes or any content, in a few seconds, that ink is going to disappear. So it gives now that workspace back, It gives that capability of writing something, you know, who's paying attention, who's not, calling on certain people, see if they want to participate, see if they understand what we just talked about. A lot of times I love it for review. So for a test or a quiz, or just to see who knows the content before we move forward. You can write in the correct answers or draw out the correct steps. And then you also have that capability of then knowing it's going to disappear so that you have that space back to utilize again. A lot of times too, I would use it for disciplinary management. So say Billy is not paying attention, I'd be like, Billy, just as your name is disappearing right now, so will you from this classroom if your disruptive behavior doesn't stop. And so he knows once his name is called and I've drawn his attention to the board, if his eyes and ears are not focused on me and he's not paying attention, by the time his name disappears, we have an issue. So it works if you stick to it. I use it a lot for homework, so they have their agendas out. And I'm writing math, page 5, 1 to 25. If they're not staying with me, they see all that starting to disappear before their eyes, and it's a gratifying silence in the room when they realize something important is disappearing. Granted, it's on the backboard and online, but in the moment, grabbing their attention, it's a different way to get that attention back on you without going above and beyond having to do something crazy. You have that capability of that pen feature in your notebook. Now, a lot of people also ask, how can I put it for a certain amount of seconds or minutes before it disappears? And yes, when you go to your Properties tab, you have a Fill Effects option, and in that drop-down menu, you have 2 to 12 seconds to now select. And that Billy example was a 6-second example. That's the default. And so right now, between 2 and 12 seconds, when you're done writing, then that time will then start having the disappearing ink go away. And then our last pen, so we have our cursor, our pens, and that drop-down menu, remember. That last one is our shape recognition pen. So if you're not the best at drawing your shapes, that's okay. It'll perfect them for you. Personally, I just go to the pre-made shapes that are up in the toolbar, which are located right here. Here's your circle, here's your square, and you have other options as well. So remember that drop-down menu, you have speech bubbles, you have hearts and stars. But the software has now given us the capability to predict or predetermine rather what I want that circle to look like before I draw it. So in that drop-down menu, I can now choose the fill and line color before I draw it. So if I want the fill color to be yellow and the line color to be black, I can now select those and then draw it. And so everything's predetermined. I can do everything beforehand. And so when I draw it, it now looks like what I want. You also have lines. So I can draw lines, and notice it snaps to the center right there. And then I have my other line. And notice if I'm like, ooh, I want to move it. I'm drawing lines all day long. Why? Good. Because I'm not a mouse yet. So you make sure you become a mouse once you've drawn something, and now you have that capability of moving, resizing, and manipulating it. Good. Now, like we talked about earlier, the eraser has the purpose of erasing the digital ink, but these are all formatted objects. So remember, we cannot erase those. We have to delete them. So we can either select the object and hit the red X. You can do a marquee select and select everything at once, and then the red X. Or hit our undo button, and now that page sorter, remember, has the page we're selected, surrounded by a blue border, and that drop-down menu allows us to then completely just delete the entire, clear everything, so that we have everything gone. Okay? At this time, time, we're going to take a break and have some hands-on practice. Also practice at your desks. And then in a couple minutes, we'll come back and we'll continue on talking about the side tabs, and then further where you can find additional information, already made, pre-made lessons and content that you can start utilizing today.